It is a hazy, hazy day. Came up here to run the chipper and I disturbed one of the deer that was grazing. Clearing and maintaining land is an arduous process. This land was forest when we purchased it, and cutting the trees created an enormous amount of debris that we're still dealing with today. But we're also dealing with regrowth and deadfall and storm damage. Like a lot of things that we use here, a chipper was never really on my wish list until we started to try and turn this land into a farm and found ourselves with an enormous amount of small trees and tree limbs. I barely ever took notice of them before, except that they were loud and they looked dangerous. And of course, there are movies like Fargo and TV shows like CSI that'll really make you afraid of them. But once I decided that I needed one of my own, I started reading everything that I could find to decide what kind and what size I wanted. And then I started doing some checkbook math, and I found out that I probably needed one that was a little bit smaller than I originally thought. There are two basic types of chipper: drum chippers and disc chippers, and for the most part, drum chippers require their own motor. Disc chippers can have their own motor or be put on a PTO from a tractor. There are advantages to each style of chipper and each style of power source, but for me, I knew early on that what I wanted was a PTO powered disc chipper so that I could use it on the tractor and not have to maintain an additional engine. The chipper, like the brush mower and the rotary cutter, are just some of the tools that we've discovered to help us manage the areas of land that we're trying to put to use for ourselves. And now that we're living here, our working theory is that we'll be able to find more time to keep up with these tasks, and eventually, it won't consume all of our free time. At least, that's the theory. And since it looks like we're about done with the chipping, it's time to jump on the brush mower and get some more work done. Things don't always go according to plan. Everything was going so good. I don't know what I hit. I tried to back up off of it, and boom, things came apart. I saw the jump on top of this thing jump, so I knew something was wrong. I didn't realize it. Jafana wants to know what I did. Why I'm back up here. Do you see how it's bulged out right there on the top? The metal's bulged out because it exploded underneath. What'd you hit? I hit something, got hung up on it, couldn't get off. Tried to back off of it, and before I could, it just kind of blew up.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's part of that one right there. And the hoses are all chewed, or the belts are all chewed, cut in. Yeah. So I don't know what it looks like underneath. I'm going to guess something hung up on the blades. And the blades stopped turning and the belts kept turning and just tore it all to pieces.
Oh gosh.
So I got to get a notebook and start collecting different pieces, parts that I need to replace on this thing and see if we can get them ordered before the weekend. Yeah. There's always something. It's me against the mountain, and today she brought her A game, and I wasn't ready for her. When you're suffering through some chaos and disappointment, it's important to remember why you go through it all. It usually doesn't take me too long when I look around to remember.
Well, I'm back and it's another day. Yesterday, I was out here trying to get this monstrosity fixed. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have the right bit. I was using a 30 millimeter and I need a 1 1/8. I was starting to round off the nut. Don't want to do that because I got to use it again if possible. I need to get it off of here, and I was warned that this might be a journey through Hades for me because a lot of people have difficulty getting the pulley off of the spindle. They say that no anti-seize was put on there at the factory and that you have to use some kind of a press and press the thing out. I don't have one. Used to have one, don't have one now. Hoping that that's not the case, I gotta start by just getting the nut off this thing and we'll go from there. Foot so I don't get it cut off, that spinning blade. See if I can put something on there and stop that thing from moving. Look at that. It is coming off, and that is not seized on there, thank God. I had the realization that while I was running that impact driver, that thing is starting to spin, and I'm standing here with my feet just up underneath it here. Well, there's a spinning blade under there. Not clever, and certainly not the way I want to finish my weekend. So I'm going to take this 2x4 and see if I can stick it up under there and wedge it and make it stop moving. I don't know if that's going to do anything or not. I don't think so. It's coming off. Yeah, and that thing's still spinning steady, so I didn't do much. There we go. Look at that. Now that is lucky. That is really lucky. I'm trying to see here, was that on top or was that down below? I think that was on top. Except I don't know. But I got it on video, I know that. Let's see if I can clean this out just a bit. Alright. Took a quick look at the video and that was sitting on top like that, so that's how it's going to go back on. This one has a bend to it. I'm going to replace that. Somebody asked me if it was just the pulley that was broken when I was posting on it online, getting some advice on it. No, the belt is cut in a couple of places. It is doomed. So that's going to have to come off. The way to get that off is you got to take these bolts and these bolts out. Quick shout out to Blue Cord. That's the channel that has probably the best demonstration of how to do this belt. There's a couple others out there that also have it demonstrated. I usually watch a couple different videos to see if I can pick up some tips on this kind of stuff so that I'm not cutting trail and trying to figure everything out myself. Nut underneath of it. Okay, so a nut down the bottom that has that little traction grabby part, and then you've got the washer sitting on top. That actually, that's not a washer. I can't tell if it is or not. Looks like it's part of it. Got this little cap to it. The bearing is already pressed in. As far as orientation goes, this is what was on top. And this is the bottom, so it's slightly different. The damage that I have on there is right there. I could probably straighten that out. You can see it got kind of scarred up in there. I may straighten this and just hang on to it in case I am unlucky enough to have this happen again. As long as I've got this thing off here, I might as well clean this goop out of there. Well, this has a different look to it. No, it doesn't. Look at that. That piece wants to come right out. That is part of the bearing. That's pressed into the bearing. Huh. We've got to be careful with that. Alright. Huh. I'm gonna have to hunker down on that, make sure it's in there nice and good. And that's on there pretty darn good. On. This is the one everybody warned me about, said that they don't put any anti-seize. Well, they put something on there because it's got a little bit of grease to it, and that's probably why I was able to get it off. Now, I don't have anti-seize, but I do have dielectric grease. I'm going to put some dielectric grease on here, and my reasoning for that is it's designed to keep dissimilar metals from corroding, and if that's the case, might be what we got here, and that might prevent them from rusting to each other. At least I'm hoping, and if I'm wrong, go ahead and throw something in the comments, because that's how we all learn. Now, this beast right here, yep, goes like this, going back on here. It's got a little bearing, little brass bearing down there. Put that all the way down on there. Since that's kind of snug, I want to put a little grease on it. Since I'm greasing things, might as well do it. Your bearing, put that back, or the washer rather, put that back on there. Nut back on here. See if I can put some gloves on, hold on to this thing, and fasten this down. Sounds like I'm running out of air. While that was recharging the air, I went ahead and took these nuts off. It's a 3/4 inch wrench. Take off these nuts. There's a bushing inside here on both of these, so when you take it off, you got to be careful you don't lose that. Now I got to get this out of here. Oh, come on. Why is there always some issue here? There we go. Use a wrench like a hammer every time. And remember to take the bushing out of there and save it. Now I guess I need to take note of how this belt is laid in there, because I'm going to have to lay the other one in a similar fashion. It goes over there, around to that. Based on the diagram, I believe that one of the most important loops here is this loop right here. This belt's going to come around here, around this one. It goes from here to this one, around this one, underneath, and around that one. That's crazy. This is a B162 belt, 165 inches. And one I'm using that they gave me at the store is a Mitsubishi brand, but it should work. So let's open this thing up, see if we can replicate some of these loops that we've got going on here. I just went back inside, checked the diagram just to make sure I was doing this right. I think I've got it. Now I need to put this, since this is here, this goes back in, and if I start these two belts, then I should be good. So let me put my bushing in here so I don't lose it. Smash my fingers. That one's in there. And this one. Pushing right there. Yeah, there you go. That's one of them. See what I just did? Somehow I pulled this out. There. Try that again. Start with this one here. Around there like that. Around here. This one goes this way. It's going to loop around here. Boy, that's a crazy twist in there. This one goes this. And like this. So take this off here. This one here. And then I gotta figure, I guess I'm gonna have to take the tension out of that. If I'm not mistaken, a 9/16. There we go. Came off easily. Here we are. Now, did I make a mistake here? I probably did. Because I probably needed to leave this in here a little bit. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that back in there. Alright, let's take that out of there and get myself some room. That on there that much. Pull this one down onto here. There we go. There we are. Boom. I believe that is correct. There's a lot going on right there. That is definitely a lot going on. That's tight enough and not too tight. I guess we'll find out by running it. Put these little pins back in here. There we go, that's one. Where's the other? Looks like we're good. Everything turns, everything moves. Nothing looks like it's messed up. So let me get these other parts out of here. I was told that I could weld this back together, and I'm tempted to do it just for the practice, but we'll see. Last thing I'm going to do here, when that came off there, it shot against this so hard that it kind of bent the underside of this outward. And one of the things it did was bend that down. So it's catching here and cutting the paint, so I'm gonna see if I can bend that back in. I don't think it's going to be particularly attractive, but it'll be functional. Took some of that bulge out of it, but the bulge shouldn't really cause me any harm. It's just a little loved on, that's all. Well, that's it. We replaced the pulley on the Tough Cut Mower. That's the HQ680. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. If you have any comments about how I could have probably done that better, share that with me so that we can share with everybody else. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoy what we do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we have new videos coming out. We'll see you guys next time.